This presentation covers the policies and procedures for DCH Regional Medical Center and Northport Medical Center. The policies and procedures discussed today during the presentation are located on the DCH Intranet. You may access the intranet from any of the DCH facilities. Several of the topics that will be covered during the presentation are general employment information, general work rules, communication, and a couple additional policies. Let's first discuss general employment information. These policies and procedures for the DCH Health System do not constitute as a contract of employment or any other type of contract, which means DCH can terminate employment or you can terminate employment at any point in time. The first policy we will look at today is the Equal Opportunity Policy Statement. It states that DCH will not discriminate against anyone because of race, religion, color, age, sex, national origin, or in the case of handicapped persons, their disabilities, or any other reason or factor prohibited by law. If you ever feel that you or someone else are not receiving equal opportunity to do a job, please let someone know so this can be looked into. DCH takes a zero-tolerance stance on harassment. DCH Health System is committed to maintaining a work environment that is free from unlawful discrimination and harassment, where employees at all levels are able to devote their full attention and best efforts to the job. If you ever feel you are being harassed or threatened on the job, please notify your department supervisor or human resources immediately. It is the policy of DCH to ensure that all individuals are provided with equal opportunity employment without regard to disability. This refers to our reasonable accommodation policy. If you ever feel on the job you need assistance in doing your position, we will do our best to find you a reasonable accommodation. If you hold a position that requires you to maintain a license or registration to do your job, you are responsible for maintaining that license and registration, and also to ensure that license or registration does not lapse or expire. If you allow your license or registration to lapse or expire, you would be removed from the position until you are eligible to reinstate your license or registration. Now let's discuss general work rules. Employees who are scheduled to work 6 hours or more during a workday are entitled to an uninterrupted 30-minute meal time. If you are unable to take an uninterrupted 30-minute meal time, you need to notify your manager so they can go in and make a manual adjustment in our timekeeping system, due to the fact that our timekeeping system automatically deducts 30 minutes from your time. You are also eligible for 2 15-minute breaks. These breaks cannot be taken together, they cannot be taken at the beginning or end of each shift, and they cannot be taken with lunch. These breaks are not guaranteed. Let's discuss phone calls for DCH Health System. Personal phone calls are limited to emergency situations only. DCH does have a cell phone policy. Cell phones are to be used only during meals and breaks and when necessary for DCH purposes. Please do not use your camera to take a picture of anything affiliated with DCH while on the job. When driving, refrain from talking and no texting or emailing at all. If your phone is lost or stolen on DCH property, DCH is not liable for that. DCH has an education department which is called Organizational Development and Education. They provide clinical education programs, professional development classes, and scholarship information. For more information on the education programs offered at DCH Health System, you may contact the Human Resources Service Center by email at hrservicecenter@dchsystem.com or by phone at 333-4772. Or you may go to the DCH Intranet under Education and Training for more information. Now let's look at communication. At DCH Health System, everyone is part of the public relations team. Considerations for dress and personal appearance are professionalism and image, safety, and infection control. Every department has their own dress code. Please refer to guidelines within your department. DCH Health System has a scent policy. People who are sick or have allergies may have adverse reactions to the smell of aftershave, cologne, perfume, scented lotions, or scented makeup. It is critical that DCH employees refrain from wearing the above. It is not our intent, however, to discourage the use of deodorant, hair care, or other personal hygiene products. Let's discuss ethics at DCH Health System. Everyone holds an equal responsibility when it comes to ethics. Physicians alone diagnose patients and direct treatment. If you ever feel that a patient is in danger, you have the responsibility to immediately notify your supervisor. All patient information is strictly confidential. Employees should not burden other employees or patients with personal problems. And there is a medical ethics committee at each facility to review patient care dilemmas. If you ever see a patient care dilemma, please notify a member of the medical ethics committee so that it can be reviewed. Your right to decide is in the Patient and Visitor Information Guide given on patient admission. It is also available on the back of the door of each patient's room at Regional Medical Center, and it is available to outpatients at the time of registration. Joint Commission is the agency that accredits our hospital. Any employee who has concerns about patient safety or the quality of care provided in the hospital may report these concerns to Joint Commission on the Accreditation of Healthcare Organizations, or JCO, without fear of retaliation or discipline. Please use the contact information listed in the slide to contact JCO at any time with any questions or concerns. The Alabama Department of Public Health is another source employees can contact. If an employee has an quality or safety concern, they should notify their supervisor, director, or administrative staff of the DCH Health System. If they do not feel their concern has been heard, then they can contact the Alabama Department of Public Health at the contact information on this slide. On this slide, there are work-related symptoms that help you identify an impaired physician or healthcare worker. This slide lists potential home-related symptoms for identifying an impaired physician or healthcare worker. If you feel you are working with an impaired physician or coworker, please contact your manager, who will convey this information to the Vice President of Medical Affairs or the appropriate administrative person. When caring for a dying patient, one of the goals of the hospital staff should be to provide an environment free from avoidable stress and suffering. This slide lists quality care tips for the end of life. Physical signs of impending death may include increased sleep, involuntary movements or twitching, gurgling, breathing, or rattling, cool, pale skin, loss of bowel or bladder control, dark urine, increased pain and moaning, head turning toward light, confusion, withdrawal, and decrease of appetite. Cultural sensitivity is understanding the needs and emotions of your own culture and the culture of others. You will be working with people who differ in race, religion, language, gender, age, disability, and socioeconomic status. DCH's staff rights policy states if a specific aspect of patient care or treatment puts you in conflict because of a cultural or religious belief, you should notify your supervisor or department director or manager in writing. Please note, patient care is first priority at DCH Health System. You may be responsible for care of that patient until your manager can find assistance. It is a policy of DCH that all patients are to be treated with respect and dignity at all times and under all circumstances. It is everyone's responsibility to report any incident or suspected incident to your immediate supervisor, VP or Director of Patient Care Services, or administrator. If you ever feel that a patient is being abused, whether it be by a family member or employee of DCH Health System, please notify the appropriate personnel immediately. DCH Health System provides its employees with electronic mail. Electronic mail should be used for hospital business only. No solicitation. Your personal password should be kept confidential. You should send no offensive messages by email. Your email would be subject to inspection at any time. You are responsible for checking your messages daily, and you're also responsible for maintaining your files daily. Identification badges at DCH Health System are required while on duty. Your badge should be worn above the waist, and it entitles you to a 25% discount in the hospital cafeterias. It may also be used for payroll deduction in the cafeteria and gift shop. Please note, make sure you receive your first paycheck before you begin to use your identification badge for payroll deductions in the cafeteria and gift shop. Now let's look at a couple of additional policies for the DCH Health System. The additional policies we will look at are the drug and alcohol policy, the call pay, call back policy, severe weather policy, and corporate compliance hotline. For the drug and alcohol policy, DCH does drug screens on a for-cause basis. For example, if you work in a unit who has access to controlled substances and that controlled substance count is off, you may be required to comply to a drug screen. For the call pay, call back policy, if you work on a unit who is required to take call during the weekend or on off hours, you will be paid a minimum amount during the time you are on call, and if you are called back to the hospital to work, you will be paid for a minimum of 2 hours. Severe weather policy states if you are unable to come to work due to severe weather, you must call in. The corporate compliance hotline is available for employees to call for any legal or ethical issues. The number is 877-847-4324. This now concludes the presentation on policies and procedures. If you have any questions, please see your recruiter